Hello, it's Fran from psychicandenergywork.com.au, and this is part one of my monthly observations for June 2025. Part one always looks back at the month that just was, May. And May you will read on my website, psychicandenergywork.com.au, on the monthly observations page. You will read in the first section of observations all about the 5 5s in last month's chart. 5 5s is a lot. Because it is a lot, it can really add pressure. It can add busyness. It can add chaos. And yes, all right, that can be experienced in a physical, tangible way. I'm really, really busy, or things are coming at me in a very tangible way. That seem to be overload, over the top, chaotic, ungrounded even, But 5 can also be or manifest as energetic busyness. One of the ways, and therefore that sense of life's out of control. Life's out of control. Things are shifting in a way that I can't quite comprehend. I can't make sense of. Why is this happening? And 5 5s can, for some people in certain moments, be a phase where that sensation is so loud that it makes it very difficult for the individual to turn off or away from doubt, lack of faith, fear, and therefore confidence that life is going to be okay. There are a whole lot of reasons, if you look all the way around the world, why those sort of statements or thoughts might be manifesting right now. And yet, at the end of the day, 5 is a phase that wants us to realise to the next level, in other words, to a more solid degree, as in unwavering, known. It's a fact that I don't doubt, I don't question, and I don't even need to think about moving forward. It's that cemented in. 5 is a phase that helps us realise we can do anything we set our mind to. Anything is possible. If somebody else can do it, we can. That doesn't necessarily mean we will. Of course, everything is choice. Hello, I might want to be an astronaut. There's no point wishing for that if I'm not going to do anything about it. But 5 is potential. Therefore, 5 is a place that at first can really, shall we say, pull self into states or events, and therefore energetic dynamics as well, that really make it question its capacity to survive, its capacity to cope, to make sense of. And because 5 5s is so much, within that can be the sensation of, I can't even see where tomorrow's going to be. So it can really promote pessimism, doubt, uncertainty, fear, anxiety, stress. Within all of this, therefore, is the learning curve, the lesson, the discovery, that is the fact that life is inclusive. Egoic realms are not. Humankind being partly egoic and in no way able to lock out of that as a reality. Humankind is not always supportive, but that's not the same as life. Life is a separate entity. It's a separate flow to humankind. And again, because of course we're human, because we spend so much time relating, transacting, all of those things as we need to with other humans on human-made concepts and human-made systems. Nothing wrong with any of the above, but you see sometimes, of course, they can present in a way that really start to encourage us to narrow our views, to narrow our hopes, to reduce our scope, to talk ourselves out of everything that we're here to experience, achieve, tune into, benefit from, and share. So May was full. And if you experienced that, congratulations, you're human, you're doing very well, and you've made it to the other side. 5 in all of this, because 5 can be what it is, I say this often, it can be a bit like, a moment surfing or swimming in a surf, where, you're enjoying yourself, you're having a lovely time, you've got the hang of everything, and then all of a sudden you look over your shoulder or you turn around and you see a wave coming that you haven't dealt with before. And you're at a depth, not necessarily because it's really, really deep, but you're deep enough in the water, you're deep enough in your reality, and deep doesn't have to be a negative word there. You're deep enough in it to know that you just can't hop over onto the sand and avoid the wave. And because it's one of those waves that you haven't quite met before, quite possibly it's going to roll you. Quite possibly it's going to push you about, maybe even take you under for a minute. But you see, 5 is also the realization, the lesson that life is flow. It is a sine wave, up, down, more, less, and of course all the in-betweens. So therefore 5 is that moment that teaches us, for as long as we breathe, for as long as we refuse to let the wave encourage us into the affirmation of, I'm a goner, nothing is going to help me here. There is no future. I have no help. I am all alone. All of these statements can be affirmed by us all on a regular basis. Such is the human reality, especially in the period 2020s. And yet 5 is the period that wants us to get the hang of what we're doing on those respects, to the point where we, shall we say, guide ourselves to look at what is creating the negative, the pessimistic narrative, in a way that through that we are then helped to deal with that narrative, heal the wound, heal the ignorance, and I mean that as an objective word and not as a criticism, negative word. But at the end of the day, self only goes into pessimism because it is ignorant about life as flow, as a very inclusive and supportive realm. Very easy thing to say, isn't it? But when self breathes, when self lets go of the immediate, and I don't mean physically let go, I mean perceptually, energetically, intuitively lets go, in a way that it helps itself to stop gripping what it's gripping right now. Yeah, out of fear, out of stress, out of, hello, I'm just coping, bare minimum, and I'm hanging on to whatever I've got. But 5 is the moment that helps us realize that through breath, we will roll through anything. That life, even if those who are around us or those who are in the immediate circumstance that we're dealing with or focusing on or really, really wanting, even if those people cannot or will not support, help, work with, respect, whatever those words are, there's always something else. There's always someone else. And sometimes 5, because it is the change agent, sometimes 5 presents realities in a way that helps us to move into a changed landscape. Maybe it's because we change our stance. Maybe it's because the people need to evolve. Maybe because, I don't know, it's perceptions, it's approaches. Maybe it's just time. But also too, maybe it's also self-talk. So the joy of all of this is that, like every other really spiritual moment, and what I mean there is really intense moment, out of control moment, in a way that, hello, self is very aware that it's not experiencing what it's experiencing by choice because it wants to, and therefore because it has the only say on how life is going to unfold. In all of those moments, life asks us to use breath to the point, and I don't mean hyperventilate, but therefore to allow breath to become the soundtrack rather than our inner chatter that's going on behind, especially the negative stuff. So through breath, in through nose, out through mouth, for the count of 4 or 5 each way, in a way that isn't pushing. It's not forcing, it's not willing, it's just, you know what, I'm breathing, and as I breathe out, I let everything go. Not just the stuff I know, not just the stuff I want, not even just the stuff I love, but absolutely everything. And that everything doesn't only include mine or what I'm aware of, It's everything, even the stuff I'm not aware of. Through this, we help ourselves let go again and again and again. Energy work, release work on this level, it is always a series of layers, a series of circuits of breath. Yeah. And it's not because we have to look anywhere. It's not because we have to drive the process. In a sense, these moments ask us to let go of driving, knowing so much that we get in our way, and actually make room for the universe to show us, for the universe to come in as flow, as healing energy, as intuition, yeah, in a way that really informs, really helps to morph the landscape wherever egoic vibes are overly gripping, overly presenting, and therefore blocking too much. So 5, like all numbers, when it is extreme, it asks us to let go into, I don't know, completely. There is no more tension in me, around me, from me, towards me, because I've let go to that degree, around and around and around, again and again and again. As you do that, your body starts to come to peace, but also your mind, yes, but also that sense of flow starts to manifest, that sense of universal presence as a very felt, very tangible, and also very informing dynamic. This is where we've really released. This is where we actually give ourselves the chance to reconnect with the divine source, universe, life, or they're all one and the same, in a way that helps us come back into the big picture and therefore come back into position where we're actually able to receive from that big picture, from source, from flow, in a way that we're no longer alone, we're no longer abandoned, things are no longer impossible, and everything is linked and fine. So over the next few weeks, even few days really, and it doesn't have to be limited by that time frame, have a go at this. Do it to the next degree, because the last few months have really encouraged a tightness in breath, a shortness in breath. A lack of ability to just get back into the connection, just get back into the peaceful state, into the big picture. Dedicate some time to be alone with Source, not because you reject the world, but because through doing this, you are better able to embrace the world, work with the world, influence the world, give to the world, and of course receive from the world again. Take good care. If you need a hand on any of these levels, whether it be to learn about these things professionally or personally, whether it be to have energy work, whether it to have a reading or any other form of invisible intuitive stuff, give me a call. My details are on the contact page at psychicandenergywork.com.au. Feel free now to go back to the website to read about this month, the birth numbers, or to continue on to the second video for this month's observations, which will also start to talk about the same. Thanks for tuning in. Take good care. Have a wonderful June. It is due to see a change in pace.